Hi everybody, welcome back to Thea World and our tutorial here on Hotel App Booking Engine with Angular 6, Material 2, and Firebase Part 3. So we're working here and I just want to show you guys for inspiration what we've done here on the sketch files. I just want to go over this really quickly. Now you don't have to watch me show you this, but I mean for inspiration it's important that you, not just inspiration, but it's important as developers to see what's going on with the sketch files. You can't build an app without visuals. I mean, you can, but it just won't work because there's a lot of things when building an app. There's a flow, there's a user story, and that's enough for a developer to be already trying to figure out the logic and the business logic and the app logic and the functionality of things and how things work. Third-party vendors, the testing. There's so many things. And the last thing you need is trying to figure out where to put a button or how things work. And I just want to let you know that it's important, very important, that you kind of know how Sketch works. You gotta know how to visit InVision and to see how you can collaborate and view these things. And actually, all these Sketch files are actually material components. But they're not just components that some developer, some designer is just creating with excuse me, some designer is just creating just making rectangles and things like this. No, they actually pick up material components in Sketch and they modify them, or they and that's basically the CSS that you would have to put. So all I'm saying is it's important that you go through these files. Things have changed now. They're not like the way it was in the good old days with Photoshop. It's really important that you understand how the Sketch files work, because you don't want to be just a developer who's just writing code all the time without actually using these, and collaborating and looking at these views. These views are so important. Like this is a toggle menu. Obviously, this, you know what this is going to be, right? This is going to be the tabs, scrollable tabs. That's exactly what that's going to be. So with a thumb, someone can literally just move it. Of course, guys, this is in the works. We haven't completed this. We're still working on it. And I'm going to add this. Actually, the designer is Aaliyah. And she's a great designer. She's got a Behance profile, so I'm going to put the link here at the bottom in the comments section. So you can go and have a look. And obviously, we're nowhere near complete again. We are reviewing this, and we are reviewing it, and we're going to review and review and review. But it's important that you see what we're doing, so that you can, kind of like see what we're at. All right, so that's what we're doing. We're working on this, and the header, we're probably going to change the header to have the the toggle menu here on the left, and the logo probably going to go on the left as well, just for usability purposes. Remember, we want to make this like a travel agency. We don't care about the shishi poo poo pretty things. We don't care about that. The last thing we care about is that. Right, so the last thing we care about is the design, because the design can always be fixed, but when the usability is concerned, there's nothing worse than creating an app or a website that destroys the revenue of your customer, or destroys the revenue of your startup. So you want to ensure that everybody can see all the lifestyle, all the events, all the spa packages, all the rooms, because sometimes people want to buy stuff, but it's impossible. Like whoever built the website, they made it impossible for them to buy stuff, to buy a spa package, to rent a room. To book a room, to see available rooms, to see the beach, like where it's located, the map. So I just want you to know it's important as developers to look at this and collaborate with designers and tell them, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to do this because the user has to go through 5 steps in order to view this. I'm trying to make a YouTube video here, Thea. Sorry, that's my dog. So I just want you to know to be careful and to watch this, to guys monitor this. No, Thea. Okay. All right. Next, I'm gonna show you guys on GitHub. I'll use Bitbucket, okay? But I'm using GitHub now because it's the first time I'm doing this tutorial with GitHub, and I think it's a good idea because I want to tell you guys one thing. Please, if this doesn't work for you guys and how to set up GitHub, just do another tutorial or just figure it out. I'm going to show you how to do it here the way I know how to do it. So there's some series of steps that I do because I don't want to replace some key pair that I have in my folder. And if you don't know what a key pair is, it's a private key pair and a public pair, a public key and a private key. So if you don't know what a public key and a private key is, just don't worry. You're gonna figure it out now as you watch this. It's just a way to access GitHub and to GitHub, or Bitbucket or whatnot, and how to push your code, right? So you don't want to be pushing your code with HTTPS. So I'm going to start a project here so you'll understand with an example. You start a project, right? You go to github.com, create an account, start a project, Thea Hotels, Thea Hotel. Description, I'm going to add hotel app booking engine, Angular, and Material 2 and Firebase. I'm going to click on create repository. Now, when this happens, it's going to give you two options. The first option is HTTPS, and you can use this. We can go with HTTPS, no problem. But look, every single time you push code, you're gonna have to enter your GitHub password. And do you really want to put your GitHub password every time you push code? No, because you may have other developers, you may have other partners, other friends who are working on the project, and you don't want to give your GitHub password. That's like giving your Facebook password to someone just because you want them to check your message or something. I mean, that's a bad example, but I'm just saying, it could be like anything, any account, your email. This is like private information. You don't want to just give your password to everybody. And you don't want to be like accessing your password and entering your password every single time you push code. So you want to SSH. With SSH, you can actually invite other developers to go into, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you go with HTTPS, I know in the past I wasn't able to revert this. I'm telling you this from experience. Okay, you will not be able to revert this. Maybe you can now, but from the past, I remember you can't revert this. Once you set up a Git account, a Git repository without SSH and you just do HTTPS, that means every single person who needs to access your project is going to be using your password to push the code. So, and guys, I may be wrong about this, but that's my experience in the past. So I always use SSH. So I'm clicking on SSH, and this is the path that you're going to use, okay? And we're not going to use this because we already have a repository that we want to push via the command line. So the first thing you want to do is I'm going to open terminal, and you want to check to see if you have a .ssh folder, okay? And doing so, what you can do is, I'm in Thea tutorials now. That's like my default place where when I open terminal, that's what happens. So of course, if I go ls here, you'll see have Thea Hotel. When I list, I have Thea Hotel. All right. Now a lot of these files are not visible. So you don't want them to be visible because there's a lot of files there and folders that you don't want to be looking at. So if you go to change directory space and you put a / and you need to add the tilde. If you add the tilde, if you add the tilde, which is the shift key, and then the escape key, and not the escape key, there's a button under the escape key, the tilde /.ssh, it's going to take you to that directory if you have it. And that's what happened. Look, you see here, there's MacBook Air .ssh. That means I'm in that directory. So if we go print working directory, you're going to see that in fact, I have a .ssh folder, and in that .ssh folder, I'm in now. You see what I'm saying? I'm in that folder. So if I type in ls, you're going to see 3 files, which is one is a public, one is a private, and one is a known host file. So what does all this tell you? This tells you now that we already have one, and I don't need to create one, because if I create one, like if I was to do SSH dash, let me just go back to where it was, change directory dash. So I mean where it was. If I was to create like SSH dash key generate, key gen, hit enter, it's gonna say, hey, do you want to create one? And if I hit enter, you know what's gonna happen? Look, I'm gonna hit enter. It says it already exists. You want to overwrite. If you type in the yes, Y, and hit enter, it's going to overwrite it. And if you're using that private key pair, that public key to your live server or to Bitbucket or to whatever, to C9, to whatever other work that you're working on, it's going to overwrite it, and that's not going to it's no longer going to be valid. So next time you push the Bitbucket, for instance, it's gonna say, "Uh-oh, you don't have the correct rights." So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna hit enter. Don't destroy something that already works. That's already there. So please do yourself a favor. You wanna go. Okay, I'm gonna clear again. Do yourself a favor. No Thea. Okay, do yourself a favor and type in change directory, the tilde / which means wherever I am, okay, it's gonna take you there, .ssh, and hit enter. And if it takes you there, do not create a new key pair. All right? Now, but you're probably wondering, so what now? What now? I'll tell you what now. You go to settings on github.com and you hit settings, okay? So you go to SSH, you come here. Now I already have one key here. I already have a fingerprint, okay? I already have a fingerprint, and how I did this, how did I add this public key pair here? All right, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna click on new SSH key, and here I'm gonna type in SSH key for Thea Hotel. All right. Now remember, in the terminal, I have this, like normally when you create an SSH key for GitHub, it doesn't ask you for every single project, you know, because this is your account. So the fact that this .ssh key is inside Thea tutorials, it means that I can make multiple projects in GitHub, multiple repositories and multiple projects in my Mac, and I can push every single push with the same private key, because here, earlier I showed you, I have a key. So you don't have to do this for every project, and that's the good thing about having this SSH key inside your user, which is, for me, it's Thea tutorials, all right? So what I'm gonna do now is I need to copy this. So so you wanna copy this, right? Okay, and you can be back here. You can be back here, wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are. You can just say cat, space, with a tilde, / and then .ssh / ID _ RSA .pub. And if you do this, if I hit enter now, my key is going to be shown. And then you're just going to basically drag and copy it. But if you are new and you've never done this before, just go space, the pipe, which is shift and under the delete key, the pipe, and then go space. If you're on a Mac, just type in pb copy. If you're in C9, you type in just copy. And if you hit enter, this will copy it. So basically, I got it copied. Now I can come back here and paste it here. I'm not going to paste it because I don't want to show my public key to everybody. So again, you understand what I'm saying? So this is if you have a key pair already. If you don't have a key pair, if you don't have a private key, all you gotta do is I'm gonna just type in clear now. You gotta I'm gonna put in actually you're gonna go SSH dash key generate. That's key gen, and basically when you do this, it will create it for you, and you go and you copy it, and then you just come back here and you paste it. But based on documentation on GitHub, you want to go -O, and if this doesn't work with a -O and -T, space RSA, space capital C, capital C, space, and then you enter your email inside the quotations, your email at whatever, at gmail.com. Obviously, you have to replace your email here, guys. And if you hit enter, if it doesn't work, just do it again without the -O, okay? If it doesn't work. But once you hit enter, this should say generating public key pair, generating private and public key pair, and then it's gonna say enter in which you want this to be saved. And yes, if it says users / your username / .ssh / ID _ RSA, if it says that, say yes. But if it's asking you to replace some stuff, say no. Go back and do what I just did earlier. So it's gonna, once it generates your public key pair and your private key pair, you just go back again and you copy, like just what I just did earlier. You copy it, okay? You copy it, you come back, you copy your private key pair, and I mean your public key pair, and you paste it in here, and you add it. Okay, very good. I hope it helps. Okay, now next, what we're gonna do now is we need to push all this work. So, and how do you add all the files? Okay, first we need to initialize Git. Okay, so the first step in pushing the repository to regardless GitHub or Bitbucket, the first thing you got to do is initialize Git. Change directory Thea Hotel. All right, so I'm in Thea Hotel, and then I'm gonna go Git init again. Make sure you're inside your project. Oh, sorry about that. Make sure you're inside your project. Hit enter. So initialized empty Git repository. So I didn't have one. I didn't initialize anything in the start. So initialized empty Git repository. That's what you guys are gonna get too. Next, what you want to do is you want to go to Git status, and obviously untracked files. These are all the untracked files, and we are going to commit all this. And so what you want to do now, even in the future, whenever you work on files, you'll always want to go back and into your terminal and type in Git status to see what files have changed from the last push. Okay, so you want to type in something like Git add space dot, and that's going to add all these files that you see in red. It's going to prepare them for the commit. Okay, it's going to say, hey, prepare this for the commit. Now, if I hit enter, now if I go back to Git status, and I hit enter again, now you see these files. Now they're all in green, which means, hey, these are the files that you're going to be committing the minute you type in. You're going to be pushing when you push. You understand me? So it's prepared them. So now you know there's no surprises. These are the files that are going to be pushed. Okay, right. So we're going to do Git. Now another thing I want you guys to be familiar with. Well, let's just finish this first. Okay. So I'm going to go to Git commit. Git commit space -m, and then space, and then inside quotes, I want you to type in initial commit, and then comma, and then say created, because we did create it, routing module, comma, space added hotel pages, comma, added paths. Okay, this is just, I mean, we should have pushed from before and done it step by step, but whatever, we can do that now. So if you do that and hit enter, it committed everything, but it hasn't really pushed it yet. It hasn't pushed it. So we already created a repository. So now the next step now is to come back here, and I'm just going to click back here in the browser. To come back here, remember earlier over here, so you want to add git remote add origin. So this is really important. So the git remote add origin, so you want to grab this here, the SSH, not HTTP, SSH, right? So you're going to git remote add origin with this. Okay, so you can just copy this instead here. So one shot. Okay, so you come here. I'm going to say clear, just to make it clear. Okay, I'm going to command V this here, git remote add origin, and then you hit enter. So now it added this. Now we need to push. Okay, we need to push git push -u origin master, which is git push upstream origin to master. So you copy that, come back to terminal, paste it in, enter. Now, if you don't have the correct rights, it's going to say you don't have the correct rights. But of course, I have the correct rights because I already have a key, and I don't have to enter my password. Now, in the future, I was going to tell you earlier, whatever you do on Git, whenever you're on Git, but you always want to go to Git branch. I'm gonna go clear first. I'm gonna go to Git branch. You want to make sure you're on master, because in the future you're gonna have other developers, friends, or other mates or whoever who have their own branches, like the feature branch, modified header, or feature branch, added the footer, or feature branch, prepare for Heroku, or whatever it is. So you always want to make sure now we're in the master branch, but if there's other branches there and you want to merge them or whatnot, so you will see which branch you're working on. Okay, it's a good practice, git branch. Okay, so Google that stuff here. Now, come back here to the project, and all you gotta do is click on code. Over here, okay, so we got this commit. Oh, all right. Now we're not. I'm no expert in Git, okay, but I do my best, and I know enough to do my projects, to work on with other people, and to build what I want. You don't have to be an expert in anything unless it's necessary for you to be an expert. Then you can just go and practice, and you've been an expert. You should have enough information now with what I've given you to push this. And I'm sorry for the guys who already know this and are basically saying this part is useless for them. But I'm trying to catch everybody. Jose, thank you so much for the comments that you put in. I'm doing these videos on the fly, and you're right. I need to script them from now on, and I will script them. So I'm going to fast forward everything so that people can people don't get bored from this. Okay, so on the next tutorial, we're gonna create a toggle menu for this. Okay, the toggle menu here. Thanks very much for watching, and I believe I covered everything on this tutorial. And I'll see you guys on part 5. All right, thank you.